Well, what if enlightenment, hypothetically, say, is real on earth, where you can transcend all that? Well, is that what life is about? Living on quote-unquote God mode? Would any of you want that? You might think temporarily, especially if you're in a bad place. You might be like, yes! But after a while, it'll get very boring. Right? If you think of playing a video game, imagine you're just playing a video game on God mode. Right? So it's like, doesn't matter where I aim, headshot, pop, pop. Boring. So boring. But if you suck at the game, though, at first, it's very tempting. Right? Say you just suck completely, like, I just want a headshot. What a terrible example, by the way, right? I just want a headshot in the game. God mode! Right? Or if you're like playing, what is it, Mario Kart, it's like, I just want the star. But if you're always on the star, you'd be like, get me out of this game. That would actually lead you towards a state of apathy. Those emotions, the ups and downs, that's what makes life life. That's what adds the depth, the excitement to this. But notice how that can be misinterpreted with letting go. We get sold on this false idea. Okay, so we get sold on the false idea. We buy into these things like, but Buddha, Buddha. I actually went to Sri Lanka in 2019. It was right after, this is actually terrible, it was right after all the bombings there. It was my honeymoon. No joke, booked everything. There are all these bombings that targeted churches, like I believe it was Catholic, Christian churches, and tourist hotels. This is like 2-3 weeks before I was going to go. Tourism dropped 90% plus. But hey, I still went. So I went there, and it was a crazy experience, actually. Like, we landed, and we had a person who like drove us around, and immediately, right after we land, because there was a curfew, we landed at night. We drive for 20 minutes from the airport, and immediately we're just stopped. Like, armed guards, machine guns. It's like, get out! And even the tour guide's like, just do what they say, do what they say. With my wife, I'm like, what's going on? And we have like our passports, like, American, American. Like, that was our honeymoon. Now, it was actually good. Like, that was the government just doing checkups to make sure, and they let us go. But I was like, oh my God, what have we done? But it was an amazing trip. We did that, and then we did the Maldives right after. So we went around, and we visited all these, Buddhist temples, and it was beautiful, and it was inspiring. But it was quite illuminating. And again, I get where people are coming from, but it was quite illuminating to see people going, for example, and praying to the Buddha. Right? It's like the guide would even tell us, like, if you have a loved one, for example, who's sick, you're doing what you can, and last thing you can do is just pray to the Buddha. Right? It's like, hey, please heal my loved one. And they'd bring offerings, and you do it for the monks, and so on and so forth. Now, in terms of a tradition, I think that's amazing. I respect it. I love it. Just like any religion, I respect it, I love it. But notice how you could say you start giving your power away to this thing, this person, this idea. Buddha, do it for me. Now, one of the things Jed McKenna says in that book, and it's a very thought-provoking idea, is kill the Buddha. If you see the Buddha, kill it. Now, never ever say that in Sri Lanka at a temple. What does he mean by that? What do you think? Be inspired, learn from, but don't give your power away.